I hear everything one way, even though they say I don't pay attention. I do everything the same as the way I did it last time. Still you see my life is pitiful, that I'm selfish and predictable. Though I have no voice to disagree, I don't wanna change. Never get wrong with regret, but I know that you may flag all the silence that keep me coming back. I'm the one that you hated, you know, the one you didn't want to believe, the one that you hated. Take a look at it now, I'm the mess you.
All right, guys, it's the weekend. We are back. It's Dad Talk, and I hope we have many of you go through as many of your voicemails as we possibly can. Marty, getting technical difficulties. Get the hell out of here. Leave our show alone. We're going to try to get to as many of your voicemails as we possibly can. We've been talking about many different subjects through the past week. Really quick, before we get into it, guys, we've raised almost $2,000. $2,000 for needy dads and families for Christmas. Dude, I
Good
am
job,
proud
guys.
of that. We're in a broke
And
ass
girls.
community. That's really cool. We've already sent out some Christmas to some of these guys that are needing assistance, and we want to keep doing more. I can tell you, I made a post about it this morning, and ever since I have, the inbox has not stopped. Hey, I need help. This is my situation. And we're only as good as the support that we're getting. If you look right down below these two ugly faces right now, you see where it says support now. That's Cash App on the left. It's Venmo on the right. Dad Talk today, no spaces. 100% of the proceeds are going to go back to these guys. Okay. Somebody said, talk about our badass app. We need to get an app. You know, I had an app one time, Dwayne,
Yeah.
and it was through like this thing called Appy Pie. It's just a pain in the rear end, man. And it's expensive.
Yeah, well, on that topic, actually, I built an app a couple years ago on Pissed Off Parent, and shout out to Taryn, one of the good guys in the fight, all kinds of good stuff there. But yeah, I took the website pissedoffparent.com and converted it to an app, and got some traction. And actually, I do have that app on my, or that was the Appamize app, the Appy Pie. But actually, I've got in the App Store, or in the Apple Store, and the Android Google Play Store, I've got everything set up. It's just, of course, getting time to build it on in there. And then, of course, wanting to see, is there a need and a desire for it to where this app can, give you at your fingertips information and things like that, kind of taking this fight to the next level. But I hear you about the Appy Pie app. It's it's for the technical nerds to figure out, and even I have a lot of issues with it.
Absolutely, man. You know what, guys? I said that, amongst the situations that we're hearing here, because it gets very difficult to listen to some of these stories sometimes, that we want to hear the good stuff too. And we got a good one on here. So I want to make sure to put a spotlight on this one. Mr. Nate Wilmore said, 1 year, 8 months, I get to see my kids next Wednesday. Hey, let's show some love to Nate down there in the comments, dude. We are glad to see that, brother. I appreciate you for sharing that with us. And I hope everything goes good with that, man. They remember you. Mm-hmm. They remember you. You can't get that time back, but you can build upon what you got now. So I hope everything goes well, and make sure to keep coming back and sharing these stories with us. If anybody else has got some stories like that, put it out there. Today's name of the show, and like I said, we're going to get into the voicemails as quick as we can. Today's name of the show was No Father Should Have to Fight for Their Kid. That I don't know how you can get any more simple than that, Dwayne. If you are because they'll come in, well, some dads don't need to see their kids. We're not talking about those dads. These good dads, fit, willing, and able, that are loving dads that can take care of them, that can love them, should never have to fight to see their kids in the first place.
Yeah, it is weird they talk
This
about it.
country has made dads great.
Yeah, it is so weird that yeah, you hear people talk and the headlines and stuff like, the should have fought harder. Why? If you're fit, willing, and able, and that's all we're talking about, fit, willing, able parents, you should not have to fight in court, spend your grandkids' inheritances and all that just to see your own kids. That is ridiculous, and people support it. It
Well,
they
and yeah.
it's weird.
And I think it inflames people when they see the other dads that get in here. Man, I paid this and I did this. Just man up and go and see your kid. And it gets a little tiring sometimes because we know not every situation is the same. And
Yep.
you have no idea what this guy's fight was. Okay. We've heard of some crazy ones, but at the same time, it's expected because it's been programmed so much in society, right? It's been programmed in their head, and they think in order to be a good dad that they have to pay. We've allowed that narrative to exist. So just speaking those words, it takes a little bit of cojones sometimes, but no father should have to fight to see their kid.
Yeah.
We just spoke it. Keep speaking that out there, guys. We can create the new narrative
Believe
because
and receive.
yeah, dude. I mean, once you sit down and you think about it, it's like, they're right. Why does he have to fight in the first place? You shouldn't have to.
Yeah. Well, it's
It's
been
the system.
decades.
And as we've said on several shows,
Well, over the decades,
Go ahead,
that's
man.
the narrative that's been built up is that, the bumbling father, the dad doesn't want to be part of the kid's life and he's out womanizing and drinking and cared about his job and all that stuff. And that's become the narrative and it's ridiculous. I mean, there's so much data I could sit here and go through it, but dads are very involved. We have been, and we just want to see our kids. This whole, narrative that we have to fight this hard just to spend time with our kids. You sit there and it's like a square circle. You just can't you can't even fathom it. Tom down there, a right, not a fight. Boom, there's their mantra right there. Right, not a fight. How hard is it?
Dude, we've been saying that for a long time, but guys, you're standing here with us now listening to this show. Let's claim that new narrative right now. We're not taking that anymore. Like, we're not going to give her Twisted Sister story again, but we're not going to take it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You guys come in here. Dwayne, are you hearing me okay? Because from what
I'm hearing you. Well, you are going in and out every once in a while, and you got that Max Headroomy thing going on periodically, but I'm working with it. I'm over here doing Madonna Vogue and stuff, just trying to work it all out. So it's all good. We are not going to let them take you down.
All right. We're not going to, dude, I have no problems with my internet until I go live, guys. I have 1 gig internet.
1 gig? Wow.
I'm just telling you. Oh, yeah. 1 gig out in the middle of the boondocks. So I want to read another one that we got coming on here and then pausing on these comments. Christ Chase 2020 for Life McCord said, I just saw my son on Thursday and I was happy to see him. It brings tears to my eyes and I hate to see this happening to myself and others. I will continue to work to see him. Hey, dude. Awesome.
And we need
Another
more
one.
of those dads. We
love
need more of
hearing
those
about
parents.
Tell you what, Dwayne, give everybody a little bit of an update on the Disneyland dad. We was just reading about that. And guys, if anybody knows this daughter, Brittany Shaughnessy, I want her on Dad Talk because I knew from the second that I saw that story, this guy looked like a good guy. Okay. I don't believe in suicide. I don't do it, guys. We need you here fighting. Okay. But at the same time, reading his story, seeing the challenge that he was up against, and this man thinking that was the only option that he had left. That's very sad. And now we're getting more of the details. And I think it's some of the things that we suspected are coming to light. Right. And as you talk about that, Dwayne, guys, don't go anywhere. Okay. I'm going to come right back. Let me restart this thing back up. I'm going to put you on screen for a second and I'll be right back.
Uh-oh. I'm on it all by myself. What am I going to do?
I just threw you to the wolves.
Okay. Well, the Disney, I hate to call it the Disney suicide, but that's what it was. He had a father that he, principal of the year or person of the year, parent of the year, the the principal of the year. And all these things. His wife, one night they got into a heated argument, and all of a sudden, he got put in jail for, I believe, 2 nights over false allegations. She came on the next morning and said, "This was all false. I made it all up. This did not happen." And he went to, actually, I believe it was one of his children's jobs at Disney, spent a little bit of time and unfortunately, committed suicide. His daughter, I think it was his oldest daughter, recently an article came out, I believe it was yesterday, the 7th, so 3 days ago.
Yep.
And she gave well, I don't say a different history, but, everyone thought, wow, he was told he was going to get parental, or he was going to get domestic violence, and that did it to him. And, no. When you read this article from the daughter's perspective, this has been a pattern of abuse by the wife for years, controlling behavior, verbal abuse, you name it. Thank you to Prequel. But she paints a much different story. We'll have to put a link out there to the article. But she talks and shows a pattern of history. Just one quick one. Also the Disney father, he was trying to leave his wife at different times. And one time when he tried it, he went over and stayed the night at his daughter's apartment, just trying to let things cool down. Typical guy move. Things get crazy. We want to pull back. Stayed over there. Well, the wife had a copy of the keys, came over, took the dad's car, and keyed the daughter's car. Every panel. She made it a point to say every panel. I don't know about you. I've been mad at people before, keying their car, every panel, like down to the bumper. There's something there. So this story is unfolding. We're going to get more information.
There definitely is, man. My internet just
keeps doing its thing. Yeah, you're back now.
I'm back. It just keeps getting worse, which really sucks. I hope I don't have to go restart the internet. I'm telling you, you heard me sitting in here blasting the Pantera before we got on. I had no problems with the internet. Oh, yeah. Anyway, guys, this brings up another conversation. We'll talk about it really quick, and then we'll get to your voicemails. But Mr. Mike Whitney said, why don't they prosecute false, proven, or admitted false allegations with penalties as strong as the accusations were? That is something I would like to know. Why can somebody make this accusation towards you? And they should be getting equal consequences for this, Dwayne, in my mind. I think definitely.
There's the rare case. I see a case here and there. Again, I don't dig down too far, but I do see a case here and there where that happens. But again, family court is a court of equity, not criminal, and it's a branch of civil. But it's that whole getting into the weeds there. But it's not criminal, so false allegations are encouraged. It's like the week before elections, you throw as much garbage as you can to make sure your person gets in. And then after it's over, it's politics. Well, that's what they're taught. You throw every allegation you could possibly do. Again, 70% or more of all allegations are proven to be false after the damage is done and all that. And but there's no consequence for it. So if there's no consequence, I mean, again, speeding. If you could speed and not get a ticket, I mean, that's what keeps you from speeding. Sometimes. But when you see a cop, there's going to be consequences, so you don't speed. In these divorce situations or when people are breaking up or determining child custody, that is the silver bullet. I mean, that's why it was coined. You see this pattern, and they teach this stuff. I mean, again, there was a video that Jeff Morgan produced where a district attorney down here in Texas teaches a class on it. You can hear her quote, if you want to get, this is what you do in order to get the upper hand in a divorce proceeding. And there's no consequences.
Guys, if you are watching on Facebook and YouTube, I want you to do me a favor right now. I'm going to feed them back out to the wolves again, and I'm going to see how much support we got out there, because you better not leave, okay? But my internet is screwed right now, dude. I've just got to go reset it. So I'm going to take off here for a second. It might take me a few minutes to get back in. In that time, I want you down in the comments, talk to Dwayne. Tell him what you want him to talk about. And I will be back in just a second. We want to hear what you got to say. We're continuing on with the conversation about child support today. I'll be right back, man.
All right. I got you. All right. I'm seeing some comments down here already. Family course designed to force fathers to walk away. We have to battle to exhaustion, and some run out of the road. It's a sad reflection on days the world knows such thing as equality. Hakuna Matata. you nailed it. We deal with mental abuse during the whole marriage. You are afraid to leave the situation, and you go to family court, and it actually gets worse. Yeah, we've all been taught this Matlock, or again, I'm 50, so I go the old stuff, but we've been taught this Matlock or CSI or whatever. All this stuff is supposed to work a certain way, and then we get into court. And then that's what happened to me. I mean, I walked into court thinking that thing. You can see a video I made where I'm showing, things should be balanced, and that's not what it is. It's all about money. It's all about pushing the narrative. It's all about the Title 4D funds. It's all about the child support. This is a $60 billion a year industry. They have been training and moving for this over the last almost 50, 60 years easily. This is we have there. But Mike is asking a personal question here. So, Dwayne, are you wearing pants? I'm wearing shorts. I'm down here in Texas, so it's a little warm. So I wear shorts. But actually, my anniversary, my 5-year wedding anniversary, and then you may do the math here, like 5 years. That he seems a little old. This didn't all happen in 5 years. I'm 50. This is actually my third try at the bat. The third is the final time. And my wife got this shirt for me. I'm a huge Transformer fan. For our anniversary, or for my anniversary present. So so anyway, wearing shorts. I am clothed. I did shower today too, so it was my weekly shower. Let's see here. We got Kyle Miller. So please talk about child support in Ohio if you have any information on it. If you go, again, I hate plugging my own site, but pissedoffparent.com. You can find the data on all the states, the incentives they receive, and things like that on the site. And let's see if I can find, actually on the main page, you'll find a whole plethora of information. Let's see if I can find the, the Title 4D incentives. So you think I know this a little bit better than I do. There we go. National child support data. But I think like Ohio is what y'all get a decent amount in incentives and stuff. It's pretty good. In Ohio, I hear a number of cases out of Ohio. I mean, it happens. But again, you have to understand it's all over the country. Texas, we get get talked about a little bit more because we've perfected, I want to say, the Title 4D hustle, as it were. But yeah, other states, they get a good amount. See, it's on page, I think it's 42, if I remember correctly. I think it was like in the 10 million, let's see, collected $443 million dollars in child support. But again, every state has it, and we probably need to do like state specific information. Would love to have the help to do that research. Let's see here. Iron shorts. Let's see. Julie, I see you on here all the time. Thank you for joining and sharing and definitely subscribing and all that. We love having you on. See, absolutely. I'm an alien grandparent. Grandparents. For most states, there are no rules for grandparents. Grandparents simply don't have rights. And it's beyond important because, again, the research shows, go to the website, there's articles about grandparents, and the research shows that the damage caused to children by not having their grandparents in their lives, because they play an integral piece of it. And when these divorces and breakups and all the shenanigans, as I call them, Eric's back, when all these things happen, the kids miss out on the grandparents, and that is horrible. So, when you're contemplating divorce or breakups or dealing with that, that's a whole other component, the cousins and all of that. Those are things that have to be taken into account. And looks like we got the star back. Looks like, internet's looking good.
No star here. But I said, I promised you guys we was going to get into the voicemail. So what we're going to do, I'll make a quick little statement. We'll debrief pretty much what we're going to say before we get into every show. The system is operating exactly as it was designed. Your stories have been repackaged. Different names are put on it, going back out there. At the same time, it's operating as it's designed, but for the parents and the children, it is broken. They have made you think that if you are a dad, that you have to pay for that title, and it's disgusting. They make money off of your pain. That's it. And then the parents that want to put you through this, they use that system. and it works for them. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get into your voicemail. 762-441-0281. I haven't paused up yet. I don't know if they're going to give us a break here or not, Dwayne.
That's
but,
looking good.
It's looking good right this second. Keep them coming in. 762-441-0281. Here we go.
Yeah, it's the first time calling in on the show. My name is Mike, and I'm commenting about the child support. I absolutely believe child support is crucial. I believe in it. I think that, it's important because if you can't get along with your significant other or partner, baby mama, whatever, that, you still need to be responsible for your child. On the other hand, how the other person spends that money, because that's the whole point of you paying child support is for your child. If she's out there, just flaunting the money, having drinks with the girls or whatever, or buying the new man in her life stuff, that's crap. I think it should be all for the children, and that's saying, paying rent, food, car payments, whatever. But, frivolously spending it is crap, but absolutely worth it. I mean, and honestly, some of the child support is a drop in the bucket on what it costs to actually raise a child. For instance, I pay $500 a month. That's not even close to what it costs to raise a child, between food, electric, everything, shoes, all that crap. So $500, I think I'm getting off easy. So definitely worth it. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate that, man. I mean, it sounds like a lot of the same, man. I mean, I'm not too sure what's going on with the money in some of these cases. 500. I mean, it's not too bad compared to a lot of the situations. I guess I wouldn't say for one kid. All right. Let's hear from you guys. I know most people are going to say just abolish it altogether. What would you say is a reasonable child support, Dwayne? I would say maybe $150, $200 a month per kid, which then again, I don't know, dude. I went to get eggs the other day. I mean, this one blew my mind. My wife was like, Eric, we're running low on eggs. And we was in the grocery store. She's like, go get us some eggs. And I'm the cheap guy. I'm the guy that will put back a pack of meat because it's a nickel less. Okay. And I was going to try to find the cheapest eggs. Mm-hmm. The cheapest dozen of eggs was $4.85 for the small ones. And I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me, man. So I understand, especially in times of inflation, there's going to be cases where some support is needed. But what is a reasonable support? I would say, what is $200 a month? Does that sound reasonable per kid?
Well, yeah, well, USDA puts that number between, again, there's, New York taking care of a kid in New York as opposed to Georgia or Alabama or Texas. The numbers are different, but so you get anywhere between, 9 and the 12, 13, 14,000 numbers. So per kid per year, I would estimate like in that 10 grand range. So that's what, bad math, around $800 a month all in, because again, the Divorce Corp video does a great graphic on kind of how those numbers flow out. But, it's going to pay for the kid's rent. Well, you live there too. The other parent lives there, is using those resources. Oh, they need to have internet. Well, you use the internet too. So there was the piece that what would go to the child. Anyway, they're saying around, $800 a month, USDA numbers. I would give in the current custody area that we're in now, I'd say in that $200 to $300, again, inflation would be adequate. That would, make sense. And that's, making sure the kid, because again, you went from one home that had two incomes generally to two separate homes that have two separate incomes. I mean, that's reality. You're not going to be able. Whereas, but when you live together, you could buy the Adidas, which, by the way, we're not lawyers and we're not fashion sense people. I like to get that out there every time. But you're not buying the Adidas. You're not buying the Tommy Hilfiger there. You're not buying the Jordache jeans.
I'm buying Tommy.
Oh, woo.
I'm buying Tommy because I got it on $5 clearance.
See, yeah, shopping smart. Yeah,
if you see on there, boy, I'm telling you, I know all the clearance tracks.
Oh, yeah. I'm a fan of slickdeals.net. I love that site to get all my good deals. But, the thing is, you're not buying, you're not going out to eat every night and things like that. You're two separate homes. So yeah, the kid's going to be shopping, the clothes are not going to be the high end, whatever. And that's just the reality. That's the decisions that were made. That's where we're at.
Well, I mean, even in that case, though, Dwayne, I think if they saw their kids wearing nice clothes, kid being taken care of, and it's not moms with the nails and at the bar with her friends,
yeah.
and the kid with snot on their nose and the nasty clothes, I don't know that it would have been that big a deal.
Yeah, the
Right.
research supports it. There was that article from Oxford that came out a couple days ago that they've known this for decades, but when the parent sees that their kids are wearing
Taken care of.
clean, good clothes, they're well fed, they don't come over and they're not starving, I haven't eaten in 3 days or whatever. And then, mom drops, the kid off and got the nails and the hair and going out to the club, her Instagram's all blown up with the club pictures and all that stuff, or the guy's not showing up in his Maserati or, whatever. Yeah. Most parents are going to go, kids being taken care of. That guy, talked about that. He's like, yeah, if the kid's being taken care of, I don't care. And that's where most of the, I would say most normal parents would be. But our courts and the money, the incentives they get, that's not what they look at. The whole best interest of the child, that's not what they're looking at. They're looking at the bottom dollar.
Well, so here's a guy that we was just talking about yesterday, and he's showing up, but he brings up one of the common arguments, and I believe I side with this. Alan O said child support should be for unfit, unwilling, or not able parents. That's fair. And in the cases where mom and dad are getting an equal amount of time, they're both parenting them, they don't want to be together anymore, so they're saying that they're going to separate, but we're still going to be there for the kid. I don't think there is no child support needed. I don't.
That's the way it should be. Now, I'm one of those olive branch people. So let's say, mom and dad married for 10, 15 years. She stayed home. He went to work, whatever. They get divorced for whatever reason. And it's like she's trying to get back into the workforce. She's, trying to get her college degree. She's, whatever. A step down program. Start her out with, child support of X. And then as she's incentivized to earn money because she knows her child support's going to go down and eventually go away, a temporary program, I could even see that. I mean, in the black and white world of, this is the way it should be. 50-50, no child support. You made your decisions. Here we go.
Well, the problem is, and something like that, and these different ideas, you got a little bit of leniency over here with the parents saying, well, we could try this system or we could try this system. The system itself is going to say absolutely not.
Oh, yeah.
Max, we ain't trying to find no middle ground. We ain't trying to find a way that makes sense. We need it to make sense. Dollars, not cents.
Dollars, not cents. And they have the research on it. Another article. I mean, articles are coming out every day on these topics, but they actually have shown that mediation and all this other stuff is a waste of time. Actually, the children, the parents, they end up worse through mediation. I was going to probably upset a lot of people. Mostly the mediators that get paid, but it doesn't work. What actually they've shown that helps a little bit is the passage of time. Again, you get served divorce papers or I'm leaving papers, you're mad. You have all those emotions, and the passage of time makes things a little bit more, you calm down. But they've shown, the research shows that the mediators really don't help things. And they have their own incentives. They are getting paid to provide their opinion, whatever, and they're doing it for money too.
Well, the government could just stay out of it in the first place, We do, and we're going to get to the voicemails, guys. But you guys are making some really good points, and I want to make sure to bring these up. Chris Alarcorn on YouTube said, let's talk about how men get taken for everything they have and women get untold assistance. This is a very good thing. So what about the man if he's one of the ones needing support? If she needs it, there is tons of resources out there. Section 8 was built off of that. But if you're a guy and you're the one that's paying $4.85 for a dozen of eggs or $9 for a gallon of milk, like Mr. Whitney was talking about, maybe it's you that is going to need assistance. And the sad thing is, Dwayne, we hear it every single day. If it's one of the dads that is supposed to get child support and they're not paying, there's no licenses being taken. There's nobody going to jail. It's sexist. This whole system is sexist, and it's made to profit off men.
Yeah, and we have the hard data. I mean, men are given longer prison sentences. Men, per capita, when you break out the numbers, because again, we have that very unequal who gets custody, the people that lose their licenses when you adjust for that number. So we make sure the statistics are good, not the lies, damn lies, and statistics. These things do not happen to women. They don't get their license taken away. They don't go to jail. It doesn't happen occasionally, but nowhere close to the numbers that men get in trouble.
I'm touching on this really quick with Jason. He said the divorce is a blessing. The ex-wife had a new boyfriend in 2 weeks of me leaving. When I hear that, and dude, I'm not taking a shot. I'm with you, brother. I'm one of your brothers. I've been through those situations. Okay. I don't think it took 2 weeks.
No.
I don't think it
women are planners.
Yeah, planners, or there was things in the schedule before you started seeing them attend the meetings.
Oh yeah. When it comes to this, they teach courses on this. I mean, there was my first wife. She went to a divorce planning session. It was like an 8-week course. Blew my mind. I found out afterwards, obviously. But yeah, no, it's a planning. He's got the right idea, though. I mean, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
I mean, at first, and then, all the other stuff, the damage to the kids and all that. But I think if we asked both of us, off air and not talking about it, we're glad. I mean, my new wife rocks. I mean, and I say new wife, we've been now married 5 years, but I mean, much happier all the way around.
Trust in everything. If that's the thing, dude, when you start going through those type of things in a relationship, I believe in the nuclear family. I believe in 100 more than I do 50-50. In case 100 doesn't work, 50-50 is what's going to be in the best interest of the children. However, if you're in one of these relationships and some of this stuff is going on, you can't build a house with somebody that's not helping you carry the bricks. And what's going to happen is you're going to get tired, and they are already set and focused on their new life, and they have left this one. In that case, a divorce is going to be a blessing, because nobody should feel like they're in hell when they're at home. And for many of us, that's what it feels like when you go through that crap, man. It feels like hell on earth. You're stuck in a situation that you don't even want to be thinking about. And that brings me back to that dad at Disneyland, dude. That's exactly what that sounds like to me. But all right, that was a long time to answer one of these voicemails. I am sorry, guys. Are you liking, sharing, and subscribing to Dad Talk? If you do now, in the next 5 minutes, we'll listen to another voicemail. It's about all I got for you right now. 762-441-0281.
Hey, I'm just going to say this real quick. I'm not a father. However, I know a lot of men that are. And from what I've been seeing lately with this whole thing with men and the divorce courts, my advice is to men is just don't get married. Don't have children. I mean, having kids is fine and good, but a lot of stuff just ain't worth it. With that being said, a lot of these women who have children and they're single moms and who claim that he abandoned us, no. Y'all's dads didn't abandon y'all. Your insufferable mothers ran them off and then lied to you and manipulated you into believing that your father abandoned you. No, he did not. Your mom couldn't control him. She was mad about it. So what did she do? She took you from your father and raised you to hate him. That's all I got to say about that.
I love
it up, brother.
And that's all I got to say about that. Is the perfect time. You guys need to get in there with those emojis. He has been red-pilled. And he hasn't even had a child. You know what? I'm glad to hear that somebody has educated themselves on the other side of that, though, Dwayne, as a happily married man. I do believe in the values of marriage.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the government's not attached to it. And I wouldn't take anything for the marriage I got right now. Yeah. So hearing that there's some of these guys that would probably love to be in that, but they see the trap. Do you want to eat the cheese when you know it's going to come clapping down on your head? Like a mouse, you know what I mean? It is a trap many times for these men. If any of these politicians believe in the nuclear family and they want to see marriage and these homes not breaking up, you need to listen to voicemails like you just heard, because that's what these men are thinking. And Dwayne, I don't blame them.
Well, okay, but a little personal time. When I thought about proposing to my wife, I was scared. I mean, we've had, I don't know how many conversations. I was petrified of marriage. I love my wife. I mean, I want to spend the rest of my life with her and just have a crazy shenanigan filled life with her. But the idea of the state run marriage scares the crap out of me, because I saw what happened. I I mean, I was a good guy. And, I went through all kinds of hell, just like all the folks out there, on both sides of the aisle. But, wanting to get remarried scared the crap out of me. It still scared me being married. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, it's just because, well, once you've been hurt like that, it's hard to come back. Thank God she's understanding. She goes above and beyond to take care of those concerns, and all that. But yeah, I mean, well, and again, the data is showing men are not getting married. We're not having children. And again, that's how a strong nation is made, is the nuclear family. You can like it, hate it, say I'm a crackpot. The data that we have is there. That's what did it, and what's going to cause our demise.
I was on an America First show the other day, and I just went straight into it. I hear "Make America Great Again." You guys want to make America great again? You will never make America great again until you make the family great again. And when you put the family at the top, the rest of it a trickle down. I don't know of much legislation out there that is not affected by this issue. This issue right here touches more things. I mean, you look at the fatherless statistics and what's going on in this nation. If they would address that one thing, a lot of everything else will trickle down. The crazy thing is, Dwayne, how many of them are just completely ignorant to the issues? There are some of them, the ones that are making the shots, most of the time, they know what's going on.
They know.
But there's a lot of the other people that are just kind of like yes men in there, and I got to keep my record and vote with this, that have no idea what's going on. Well, and they're running our country.
Yeah.
They're the people running our country, man.
Yeah, Kim, that was on earlier this week. I mean, when you first met her, she had no clue. And over time, given those little nuggets of wisdom, she's gotten on board and become a fierce advocate for it. And that's, those things. But, looks like Dr. Brooks McKenzie's on. Yeah. He's down there down here in Texas. Yeah, he's very familiar. All of our legislators know at some level what they're doing. I made a meme that had Stevie Wonder when the latest Bang Bang happened out here in Texas. And they're like, oh, we need to have more of this, more funds here, more funds there. It's like, no, here's the data that we've had over the last X number of years that show where this comes from.
Carnell tripped me out with that the other day. He was like, when talking about this system, I believe, was it James Brown, not James Brown, what's his name? Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder could see what's going on here. I completely murdered that one. Dang it. I am sorry, guys. But it was funny. It was funny. Yeah. Let's get on to the voicemail. Oh, really quick, because I want to celebrate her. They say we're just a page that likes to bash women, Dwayne. Lindsay Cooper says, first time watching. Thank you for being here, Lindsay.
Thank you.
You're to hear what a lot of men think about these issues. And I think a lot of these guys are going to be glad that people are in here trying to hear what's going on. And we celebrate people that want to hear what these men got to say. It's the ones that come in here and say, oh, you're idiots, you're deadbeats, you don't want to pay child support, and don't listen to anything these guys got to say. We've got to do something about the mental health in this country with our men, and that starts by just letting them have a voice. How many people try to come here and take away the voice from our men? Burns me up, man. With that said, you got a voice. Keep the voicemails coming through. 762-441-0281. We want to hear from you, Dad.
Hi, my name is Travis. I'm calling from California, San Bernardino County to be exact. I see that you're going through child support this week, so I wanted to bring up an issue. I've had custody of my daughter for 7 years now. And she's 7 years old, so pretty much her whole life. One of the things I brought up in court was child support, and the mother simply said she doesn't work, so the judge didn't order her to pay. I asked for help from child support services, and they won't even help me. So I just want to bring that up as an issue. And why is it more common for women to collect child support so easily, but yet for men it's harder to do? Like I can't get a dime from her. She doesn't have to pay health insurance, anything at all. So I just wanted to put that out there and see what you think. Thank you.
All right, so a couple of things that come to mind with that caller, and thank you for asking us that. When you got the national average of dads that are fighting for custody at 82.5%, with the U.S. Census Bureau that's going to end up without custody, is it 91% there in Texas, Dwayne?
94 from the last OAG numbers. 93, 94. Yeah.
Now, okay.
We're
so
winners.
Listen, there's only like 6% of you guys that are going to end up with custody. So there is going to be cases, and you'd think, oh, they'd want to make that Title IV money off of that one too. But this other side is so huge and makes so much money, they could care less about that. If they address that, they're addressing the narrative, right? And they don't want to address that narrative. That's why. That's why you're going through that. And here is a guy, we was just talking about this earlier. You know, what happens if you're a guy and you're needing support? She's not working a job. If the dad did not work a job, that wouldn't matter. They'd put you on minimum wage, or they'd say, this is your potential. And if you don't pay it, you're losing your license. You're going to jail. Why is this not happening on the other side? You men should be furious. You women that know somebody that's going through this, stepmoms or somebody that's got a son that's going through this, should be furious that this is what they are doing to the men in our country. Go back to the name of that again. No father should have to fight for their kid. Let's get the government out of our damn lives. They don't need to be here one bit whatsoever. They're screwing it up for everybody.
Yeah. Well, California, they have an article came out talking about that a lot of that child support money is going back to the state, not to the children of that are impacted. So you have that. And for when you had mentioned, about women, not having to pay child support, again, a little bit of real here. I'm actually, and for anyone that's on that is on the other side or whatever, I actually have 100% custody of my child. I receive child support. There's actually a video out there during my child support hearing where I try to get child support canceled. Texas, I know you had mentioned that they don't want to talk about that because they don't want the VAWA and the other organizations going nuts. But Texas has said we want that child support so much. They imputed her wages at the bare minimum, and have her paying child support. But they're, I would say that's the exception to the rule.
Yep. Again. Dude, it just infuriates me to know, like, here's one of the guys out there trying. He needs assistance. Where is his damn assistant? The only reason you're not getting it is because you're not supposed to be a dad with full custody. You're not, the mom's not supposed to be the one not working the job that needs to help you out because you're a dad that's feeding and taking care of the kid and doing everything. You're supposed to be a deadbeat. Let's not let him come to surface. Let's not show the world that these dads can do it just as good as moms. Many of them a lot better.
You said what you said.
I said what I said.
What's weird is I've had to call the child support office on occasion. I have to spend the first 10 minutes convincing them that I'm actually the one receiving child support. They will start off yelling because they'll see if there's a delinquency or something, they'll start yelling at me that I'm a deadbeat and I'm, blah, blah, I need to sell stuff. And I'm like, whoa, I'm the one receiving it. So they hear my voice and I'm like, well, guy, they know the path to go down. That just tells you the bias. You got all these different areas that just, the way it's set up is ridiculous. And again, stepmoms, kids, everyone should be beyond pissed off about this topic because it's going to impact you in some way. Not now, not tomorrow, one day.
It's affecting the whole country, whether you guys see it or not. A lot of the reason that we are in the mess that we're in is because of this system. And to know that there are government officials getting paid off of that money from that divorce.
Child retirement plans are being paid off of that money. All the cottage industry, all the $60 billion a year industry, and that's what we know. That's a more tinfoil hat stuff there. 60 billion is what we know.
And if that pisses you off, like, share, and subscribe, because we need to get more people pissed off about it, right? Yeah. Let's get this out there. The more that we get it out there, the more people we have to join in on the fight. Keep the voicemails coming. 762-441-0281.
Hey, this is Kevin down in Florida.
Just want to start by saying really appreciate what you guys do. There's a lot of us out here rooting for you and appreciate it. I have 2 children up in Ohio. I have since moved to Florida about 10 years ago. I have a family down here with 2 kids. Doesn't matter, that I'm raising another family or anything to change anything with the child support up there. Started out, I was ordered to, we decided to in the courtroom under divorce to take care of the kids ourselves, no ordered child support. About 10 years later, they decided to change that when she married a sheriff, and somehow mysteriously got that to change and put me about $13,000 behind, never missing a payment or anything. We kept, receipts between each other, what we did. We've just been fighting with it, getting warrants for arrest, having to pay numerous amounts of different situations while I'm raising 2 girls of my own here. My son's now 18 and getting ready to move in with me. Also with him being the sheriff, the new stepdad, there's been a lot of mental and physical abuse because he will not cut ties with me. And there's been children's services involved. It's a very small town, and they honestly just would go out to the house and chit chat. My son would make videos of when they would come, and they wouldn't expect to do anything. He was locked in his room. He would get smacked around, sometimes hit, couldn't get in the refrigerator. I mean, just really, really ridiculous. Rags, thrift store stuff, which, to me, that's fine. You could find some nice stuff, but the amount of child support I was paying, he should have been fairly decent. It took until he was 18 years old to be allowed to get a job and get a very crappy car, had to pay for his own driver's license course, everything. She has now, when he got the car here just not long ago, she went and put it in her name. Now that he's moving, she will not let him have his car. Pretty much has to leave everything he has and come down here, which is fine. I'll get him everything he needs to get him out of that situation. I am not driving him to come. I'm just trying to help him in whatever he wants to do for his future. But there is some very, very bad things going on with child support in Ohio. Very bad. And I don't know how much you guys have had anything to do with that, but it's definitely a bad corner of this topic. But again, just want to thank you guys for what you're doing, and best wishes for you guys and everybody going through it. Kids are our world. It's really sad a woman can use them as a tool just to get a paycheck. I've even offered to let her keep getting her child support if I could get my kids. I haven't seen them. Hey, this is Kevin.
We lost him there. Hey, man, I appreciate that. I said we're going to coin that term because Mighty Mouse here. I come to save the day. You might be shocked, guys, but we hear this a lot. People who the ex ends up getting with law enforcement. And at this point, he's talking about the sheriff. I do not want to be in this guy's shoes. I do not want to be in this guy's shoes whatsoever. This is a guy that got elected and he's got this position. And when they got these position, people will just overlook a lot of things. And so you got this guy. Here I come to save the day. Man. And he's talking about, I think he was talking about 2 different states, Ohio and Florida.
Right.
It was funny. I had somebody that was talking to me about the state of Florida, which I do believe. Florida, beautiful state. But they was talking about how Florida is leading the charge for parental rights. And I was like, really? That's where the Unborn Child Support Act is being sponsored. Really? That's where they vetoed shared parenting 3 times. It went through the House, went through the Senate, and then the governor vetoed it. Not once, not twice, 3 times. It was where we was talking about lifetime alimony. Should you be able to get a divorce, and as long as you never remarry, get this ridiculous amount of alimony for the rest of your life and live off of your ex's payday? I don't want to be with him no more, but give me his money.
His money.
Give me his money. And, if you go into followthemoney.org and you see what's going on down there, you will see the massive amounts of money that get put into these people's campaigns by family law contributors. Okay. And to be honest with you guys, it's the same thing. He was talking about Ohio. It's the same thing. Again, it is working the way it's designed. Yeah. I think we've gotten some of these wins with the legislative 50-50s and stuff, Dwayne, because they were in smaller states where the lobbyists were not as strong. That's
Right.
just the truth of it. But
Yeah.
in these bigger states like Ohio and Florida, where they got massive amounts of money to make those donations, have somebody standing at that Capitol. So when that legislation comes in, oh, sir, please don't do that. Please don't do that. That's what we're up against. What's some of your thoughts about that caller before I go on?
Oh
my rant?
gosh, there was so much. I mean, was in Ohio or wasn't Ohio, went down to Florida. He now has, his children in Ohio, children in Florida. And just to give you an idea of just how much, child support is not for the best interest of the child, the way he was paying it is that he was starving his family down in Florida for the children that were up in Ohio, not spreading it evenly or giving, if he says, hey, I can't afford to live because of this crazy child support for my bio children in Ohio, my children in Florida we're in huge trouble. They'll say, we don't care. They don't care about children. They care about their Title 4D funds. That's all. I wonder if any of the folks here think that this is tinfoil hat stuff about the legislators, the Family Law Foundation. I mean, if you wear that if you think that that's not what happens, I don't even know where to start. That is what happens.
Dude, I've been to the re-election campaigns. I'm telling you, Dad Talk Undercover. These are the stories that I wish people could see, because they think Dad Talk is just this podcast that we're doing right now. We snuck up in there, suits and ties, and looked like the attorneys and just said, we're going to walk around here and see what's going on. And it's nothing but family law attorneys, and they're putting those checkbooks out. He who can write the biggest check, maybe they'll favor me. The first campaign I ran, Dwayne, and only campaign I helped run, the guy knew I was pretty good at social media, and he said, man, I got a 28-year incumbent senator. I'm going to need some help, because he's very powerful. If he gets this 4 years, he's going to be in there for 32 years. Now, this was in South Carolina. Okay. Let me show you how crooked this is, guys. I mean, the position paid like $10,000 a year. Spends like upwards of $1 million trying to get back in office, and it became very, very bad. This senator is an attorney. Who would have guessed that? The senator is an attorney, but up there, the judges aren't elected; they're picked out by the Senate. So this guy gets to help appoint the judges that the following week he could be arguing his cases in front of.
How convenient.
32 years he's been in office, guys. This is just one little spot on the map right now. But think about that. I am an attorney and I am a senator, and I get to pick my judge. Are you telling me that judge isn't going to have any favoritism? You call it a tinfoil hat. I call it the truth, man. It should be conflict of interest. This is some of the stuff that's happening right under our nose, and it might not be the most interesting part of it. People are like, I want to tell my stories. This is why your story is happening. Yeah. Okay? This is why your story is happening, and you need to be educated. We need to be getting this out there to our people, because that's went on for 32 years. Who's challenged it? Who's put a spotlight on it? I'm sitting there putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously? Oh, man, it's dirty.
And then you tell people, and they're like, Texas, our last legislative session, it's written into the bylaws. There should be no conflict of interest in the position that you hold and what you're voting for. We had our family law. I forgot the acronym for it, but it's the committee that votes on bills that come through. And you've got family law attorneys on the board that are voting on whether a equal shared parenting bill passes. And it's written into the law that they can't have a conflict of interest. I mean, there were people have reported on it. No one cares.
No.
They just get away with it.
We do. Yeah, we do. And that's what we're saying, guys. If you care about your story, you need to care about this. And if you get in here, you're liking, you're sharing, you're subscribing, and we're getting more voices in here, and you drop this knowledge on them. The one thing I've always said about Title 4D, guys, the fact that they make an incentive, a percentage off of what you're paying in child support. Most people, unless you're in this community, have no idea what that is, Dwayne.
Yeah.
Could you
Right.
imagine if we had media out there that actually covered that, got it out on the national scale? Once the cat's out of the bag, you can't put it back in. That should be our ultimate goal right now, is to educate. And there's got to be a strategy on how we educate. I mean, I explained Title 4D in like 10 seconds a second ago. There's much more
Yeah.
to it, but if we can at least get them with that, and if they want to know, start asking questions.
Yeah.
The system is broken, man. By
Well,
far, it's broken.
When you were talking to Kim, Kim's done a bunch of research and actually did a great job explaining Title 4D and those impacts, because you saw the lights going on in her. She was like, oh, and it clicked. And you know she's going to take that information back and do something with it. Hopefully
Well,
good.
Dude, look at what she was talking about there in Baltimore. Like, they've passed bills for millions of dollars to go clean up those parts of the city. Besides a mural that was painted on the side of a building, where is that money going? All I'm seeing is drug wrappers everywhere. Dude, one of the most heartbreaking things was seeing all these kids' faces on the side of the building that got killed on those streets. Like as a memorial, and then seeing rest in peace, everywhere that you turn. This is what politicians are doing to people. It's not just in family law. They're getting money, but where is that money going? If they're going to get money and incentives off of family law, why don't they put it in there to decrease the conflict? Maybe give some resources for people that can't pay attorneys. There could be many different things. They're not going to do that, guys. You don't even want to give them ideas to say the government should be involved in this, because everything they touch goes to shit. Everything they touch. Okay. And we know that. Voicemail 762-441-0281. Getting to the next voicemail.
Hey, Eric, this is Wanda from Dallas, Texas. You and I have talked a few times, and I think you know that I support everything that you do on Dad Talk, and I agree with everything that's said, and all the callers that have called in. I agree with them and support them 100%. But having said that, my story, that I was a single mother years ago. My daughter aged out of the system in 2000 when she graduated high school. So my time as a single parent was through the 80s and 90s. And in the first several years of her life, I was getting child support. And your talk is about if you're getting child support, then you're not really doing it on your own, is what you're wanting to talk about next. And I have said that from the very beginning. And during those years that I was getting child support, I would fret and worry over what would I do when that child support ended. And finally, one day I decided to just cut it off. And I told her, Dad, no more child support. We're going to end it right now. The interesting thing is that it really changed things for me, because I started doing things to improve my career, where I could make more money, job training, whatever I needed to do to help myself. And after that, within a few years, I was able to buy my own home. I bought 2 cars, and I meet people all the time through the years that have moms that receive child support for years. And then after their kids age out of the system, they were no longer able to support themselves. And the kids then had to support their mom after their mom had received this child support to raise their kids. And now I'm meeting people who have parents that are still going through this. There are women that are my age that are getting close to retirement, and they're not even able to think about retiring. Or after the child support ends, they have to hurry up and find a new man that they can marry to take care of them. So I am totally against the child support in any form, but I tell women this all the time. You need to be responsible for your own household, to take care of things in your own home, and that means yourself and those who live in it. And you need to start thinking about your future and forget that child support, because you're never really independent. You're going to be in bondage just as much as we talk about dads being in bondage to this child support system. It puts women in that bondage, and I try to explain that to them all the time. Anyway, if I can ever say or do anything to help encourage people, I love listening to these guys, and I feel so bad for them. And my heart just goes out to them all the time and what they're going through. But I thank you for all the hard work you do. You're doing a great job. Love your show. Thanks. Bye-bye.
I love her.
Dude, I just got to give her some props right now. Here is a woman that realized that getting the child support was holding her back. And when she stopped that and started working harder, her life started kicking. I want to give That was probably the single most powerful testimony that I've seen. Okay. And I'll tell you why. This was a woman that it wasn't a mental thing. We talk about narcissism and all that, guys. Parental alienation can happen due to the system and the conflict that it creates. Okay. Doesn't mean that it's got to be some toxic person that's got all these different diagnoses. Okay. I mean, the family court could have its own diagnosis if you want to in these problems, because here was a woman that got caught up in the fight. There was some stuff that was going on in the relationship, and she took that war past the family courts. I'll never forget, Dwayne, when I was standing there in Texas, she goes in front of the legislation and says, I was an alienator. I alienated my ex. This is what I did, and it was wrong. And dude, she could barely breathe. I was a woman that took full advantage of the system. And I'm going to tell you, it was so easy. I've made lies. I've made allegations because I was caught up in the fight. I am not proud of myself, but I see so many other women doing it. I turned around. I turned the corner, and I can never take back what I did. But you are allowing these women to do the same thing. And I see these dads fighting. You've got them in bondage. They can't go anywhere. You say you want dads, but this is what you're allowing this system to do. And I'll never forget when she got back out and, in the corner, was just crying her eyes out. And I said, I am so freaking proud of you, man. So freaking proud of you. And if there is any women that do end up watching this show, and you were that person, and you did use that system, I want you on here. Come on and talk. Look, we are not celebrating the fact of what you did, but it takes a very big person to stand up and say, I made a mistake. I think in even many of these cases, Dwayne, with these people that are in relationships with these, some of these toxic women that are using the system, if they could come out and say, I made a mistake, I was wrong, let's get on the right path, many of these guys would be willing to say, let's go, let's move forward here and do what's in the best interest of the child. Unfortunately, because of the bias, it's just so hard, man. But cheers to Wanda. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm putting myself out of a job here, but Wanda should be your co-host. That was like one of the single most well-spoken. I mean, she hit all the things, and it was directed towards the women. This is stuff that we all cognitive we know, but she articulated it so well. I mean, it was an amazing call. You got to have her on. I mean, she needs to be the spokesperson because, she hit on these different things. Once she said enough is enough, I am done with this crap. Stop the child support, which probably ended almost or all the conflict with her ex. They decided to get together a co-parent. The kid was happier. Everyone was happier. And then she's like, you know what? I'm doing it on my own. I'm going to make something out of myself and not rely on somebody else or the government or whatever. That's where it comes from. I mean, you feel good when you've done it on your own.
I mean, then you're really doing it on your own. Think of, that's got, she's talking about, that was like bondage too. What am I going to do when that child support ends? Get a job, find a hustle, you can do all kinds of things. You want to be a strong, independent woman, get out there and make it. Dude, I've been doing this for like 3.5 years. I'm not doing the 9 to 5 because I work on this from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep. I'm fixing classic cars and doing everything I can to keep the bills going. And if you're a person that wants to get anything you want in this world, you can get it if you put the work behind it. Right. Yeah. And we have made this facade. I mean, and that's why this plays into politics so much, right? Yeah. They make you all these promises and these incentives. This legislation is going to do this for you. This legislation is going to do this for you. The government is not the answer to anything. You are. The belief in you, confidence, and hard work is what makes you successful. Yeah. Right? Not child support. Not child support.
Yeah, that puts you in bondage, and she nailed it. When and I got some personal stories of folks that are kind of getting close to that time frame, but when that kid turns 18, that check's gone, and then you've got to wake up and go, how am I going to pay the bills that I've been sitting around? I got a part-time job or no job or whatever, hitting the clubs, I'm hitting the wall, blah blah blah. At some point, that party comes to an end, and it's on you. And trust me, all those lawyers and the legislators and the OAG that were like, oh, we're here for you, sweetheart. You're gone. You're no longer important to them. They're not making money off you. they'll use you as, I mean, women are being used as pawns.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know people that get on here or that are outside that listen like, oh, those mean dads. No. We're just trying to give you reality. We're not being mean. We're just telling you this is what you have to look forward to. This is what will happen. That Wanda, she beautifully articulated what's in store if you don't make changes now and do the adult thing. I mean, that was a great call. I mean, we need to save that and have it in the archives or something. That was a great call. Good job, Wanda.
I just tell you, man, I got a show on YouTube that you guys ought to listen to. One-on-one with the Alienator. We had the Alienator come on, did a full episode of what they did to their ex. And that was cool. If we could get more of them to speak up, we're not going to celebrate what you did.
Yeah.
You know what? You might be able to make a difference. If you really are regretful for what you did, this is one way you could give back to make sure it doesn't happen to future dads. Right. I just wanted to bring up that comment real quick. Timothy Johnson said, I was super close to being a millionaire last night. If I won, I would have given you 100,000, man, because you're super good. And I really do appreciate your time with this. Dude, thank you. Yeah. Even though it was almost close. Look, guys, I mean, we're fighting a multi-billion-dollar industry with pennies. Right now, everything that comes into Dad Talk this month at those two platforms down there, Cash App and Venmo, is going back to our dads. That's some of the things that we want to do. But I will tell you this. We could always use new cameras. We can always use new stuff. So there's many ways that you can support the show. All those little custom banners that I got made up, if you sign up on YouTube, and a lot of you need the DNA test. You need the prenup. And we do need Title 4D reform. And this one's just for the fun of it.
You done messed up, Ron.
Yeah, dude. You can sign up as a membership. I know you see the guy sending stars sometimes on Facebook. I want to say that's like a penny for every star that goes out. Little things like that help just to even get this platform that we're streaming with right now. The microphones, the graphics. And I can guarantee you see 43 states we went to last year. We are representing you guys. What we get, and we're going to make sure that we keep this on the air for more people that are needing it. With that said, we got about 15 or 20 more minutes, and I want to get to as many of these voicemails as we can, Dwayne. 762-441-0281.
Hi, Eric. My name is Michael Francie. I'm from Pleasant Hill, Missouri, and I've been in a high conflict case for over 5 years now. My first lawyer that I hired did not turn in any of my child support payments during our trial. After the judgment came out, I owed $55,000 in back child support, which was already paid in full, and I have the checks to prove that I paid them in full. After the judgment came out, I hired another lawyer, and they withdrew from my case after giving them almost $20,000. And now I've hired a new lawyer and have given them $12,000, and nothing seems to go forward in the progress of me being able to see my kids. I've been on supervised visits for over 5 years with my kids. The judge ordered an individual to be my supervisor instead of a legit professional company. And I've given that lady over $7,000 in the past 5 years to do supervised visits with my kids. Now, all of a sudden, since our case is coming this April 20th of 2023, she withdrew from my case, or withdrew from supervising my kids due to me handing my child a note, my 13-year-old son, that had my phone number on it, telling him that I love him and I'm always going to be here for him. Since then, I went and got with another supervising company that's very professional, and their name Empowering Parents of KC. They are very professional, and they're doing a good job on trying to get me back into supervised visits with my kids. But my ex is telling them no. She has to go through the GAL at first. There's just a lot, I'd like to talk about. Anytime you're available, I'd appreciate a call back. Thank you.
Really quick, I'll touch on that at the end, dude. The problem is, dude, if you could just see the inbox right now. I am not doing this to just be like, look at this. I want you to see the text message right there. There's 1,167 unread text messages, 18 telephone calls since we've been on here. I'm not trying to show off my apps or whatever. And a lot of these, Dwayne, is you get into the emails and it's just court document upon court document. And it would take me all day just to read one. Yeah. And it really sucks when you're on the screen doing this because you want to help everybody. But you realize, you know what? The voicemails is at least giving you that 3 minutes that you can talk and that we can get you in here. And when you can't do the voicemail, get in here in the comments because we do bring them up. I mean, this guy's situation, I talk about the deadbeat a lot. Okay. And there's a reason because that is the narrative that is really kind of at the heart of the narrative. And here is this guy that went pay $20,000 to an attorney. They drop his case. He goes to another attorney, $7,000 in supervised visitation. Now we're going to another supervised visitation. And I mean, this isn't a deadbeat. But if people heard he doesn't have his kid, what is going to be said? They're not looking at the challenges that these parents are facing. I say on my own. I don't want to talk about my story as much, but I haven't even gotten to go to family court yet on mine. So people would say, oh, he gets on here and talks about family court, but he hasn't been in family court. Do you know how many attorneys I've consulted with? And it had a price tag, and every one of them have a different price that they're naming. But I can tell you this, it's more money than I can afford. Okay.
Oh, and then you do it and they drop you. You pay the retainer, then they, I don't want to represent you. See, I'll take your money, not do anything, but
You have no guarantees in anything, guys. And say you have the best case out there. You go and hire the best attorney and you spend every dime you've got to fight. And if you've got one of these judges that's getting donations from an attorney that's on the other side, you're going to be in the losing fight. The system is broken. And I think, the problem I have is for a long time, I tried to arm these guys. Like, here's some knowledge that you need to take in there to fight this system. And I've seen some of the best cases, Dwayne, just go nowhere. Yeah. We are fighting a losing battle with this. But there will be the guy. Well, it went good in my case. Great. I'm glad.
It happens.
It does happen. But they're in the minority here. They really are in the minority here. This is what it takes to be a dad in the United States of America. How many states? There's not many states that we haven't heard from Hawaii and Alaska yet, but I know they're here. But we've
accepting invitations.
I have heard all across the country. But if you don't go through this system, there's why that narrative just keeps coming up because you're a deadbeat. Yeah. If you're not paying everything you got, if you're not going through this system, you're the deadbeat. You're not trying hard enough. You're not being a dad. Now, what happens on the other side if we hear that it's a mom going through it? Where's that stigma? Where's that stigma? The only thing I can see that would be really suck if you're a mom is that if you don't have custody of your kid, you're one of these moms that got screwed over by the system, and you don't have custody of your kid. That is so rare that people will automatically look at you as like, you must be the scum of earth, man. Yeah. Because if you didn't win and you don't have custody of your kids, you had to do something really, really wrong. And in many cases, they did do something really, really wrong. You have to be very discerning on those cases, but they're there. They're there. We're acknowledging that. But there's the stigma that comes on with them. I'd say the majority of the cases that are going on, the stigma is alive and well for the man, and he's got to fight against this broken system, man. That's what it just disgusts me. You shouldn't, guys, get in here, stand in solidarity, unite, fight back at the narrative. You shouldn't have to be fighting in the first place. Yeah. We need to get that one out there. If you want to fight back at that stigma, we can do it, but it starts with doing what we're doing right now.
Yeah, we get 1 million people all shoulder to shoulder saying, we're not going to take it. We're not going to go to the whole D. Snyder thing again. but we're not going to take it. We want change. Things will change. We need to have people out there that are going to fight for this and say, not on my watch. We're done. We're not going to let this continue. And I mean, that goes back liking, sharing, subscribing. Again, it's not about, Dad Talk Today. It's about getting those numbers out there, and people, the legislators, the judicial, everyone's going to see that. And the big thing is changing people's minds. We had a first-time caller today, or I'm sorry, first-time viewer.
First-time caller too.
Oh, yeah. She probably had the narrative. Hopefully, after listening and seeing the comments and stuff, she's like, there may be something to this. And even better yet, she's out with her friends and she's like, there's these guys over at Dead Talk Today, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, they're kind of making sense here. And then it goes.
Dude, I have had the messages come through. There's two messages that make me really proud. I have had some of the moms. It was like, I thought that you were trash. And I started watching the show. I thought you were trash, and I was so angry. But then once I heard you talking and what you were doing, and it was very hard for me, but I started coming around. Am I doing this, which you're talking about? And then they'll tell me like bits and pieces of their story, and I'll be like, I hate to tell you this, but yes, that's exactly what you're doing. And I've literally seen them flip on that position. Not only that, the one that is probably the best to hear is when you have a kid that was watching.
Yeah.
A kid that's been fed that narrative their whole life. But because of what them hearing these dads and what they're going through, there's a seed planted. What if my dad was fighting? He was never around. So I just figured that he didn't want to be around me. I've seen what I've went through with my mom. She's been in other relationships where this has happened. Was my dad not around because he didn't want me? Or was my dad not around because they didn't let me?
Right.
Oh, dude, it's out there. I mean, look at the cases, dude, like where adoption is taking place.
Yeah.
Whoa. I've seen it where they'll adopt the kids out and won't even tell the dad. And then when the dad finds out later and tries to fight to get custody of a kid that mom obviously doesn't want. Nope. We've already got somebody on the hook. We made the incentives for the adoption. Nope.
There it is.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just like there's incentives for you to pay for that kid, there's incentives for them to make sure it goes out to somebody else. And you don't need custody, Dad. Imagine telling a dad of a child that's been adopted unknowingly, there's nothing you can do because somebody else that didn't create that child, that is not their biological parent, signed the paper to be responsible for him. They just don't want there to be a case where there's not somebody financially responsible.
It's all about money.
Imagine how bad that legislation must be to deny a father saying, I didn't know my kid was adopted. I want to be a father. I want to take care of them. I want to get them to school. I want to feed them. I want to clothe them. And the most important thing, I want to love them. I want to love them because I am their dad. And you tell them no because you made that money.
Yeah. Cash for kids.
Cash for kids, man. Slaves to the system. That's what we're seeing every single day. All right. Let's get to two more of these, man. I really need to cut it right now, but what are you doing later on tonight, Dwayne?
You know what? I could be here. Actually, my sister-in-law turned 42, so we're celebrating her birthday today. I'm sorry, 24 times 2, I guess. No, that's going to give the wrong number, but I shouldn't have said her age on the air. I'll get hit for that one. But no, I will be on. You name the time and place. I love this. I love the community. The energy that's coming off of this show and what I'm seeing, it's amazing. I'm there. You name time and place.
All right, dude. We'll let them vote on it in the comments because they just sat there and listened to us for a couple of hours already. If we show up at 8:00 p.m. Eastern tonight, that's 7:00 Central. That is 6:00 Mountain. That is 5:00 Pacific. Will you guys show up? And we'll continue going through these voicemails. Yeah. Will you show up and bring a friend? Will you tell them to bring a friend? Will we grow this movement and finally become the thing that we need to be? That's what it's about, guys. We can't ask attorneys. We can't ask judges. We can't ask politicians to do this anymore. We don't need to educate them. If they're not looking at the problem and not seeing it, most of them probably aren't going to. But we can educate our guys on how to fix this broken system and how to come together. We are the revolution. We are. And you might not see it reflecting in the numbers yet, but it's coming. I promise you. I got a fire under my ass, Dwayne, like I haven't had in a long time with this thing. It's coming, but it depends on you. Will you show up tonight, and will you bring a friend, and we'll pop the popcorn? All right, let's get to these other two voicemails. 762-441-0281.
Yes, my name is Darius, and I'm from South Carolina, and I take child support through Texas. And I took my baby child's mother to court, and they made me get on child support when I took her to court to establish paternity. And then they make me pay what they want me to pay her, and I don't think that's right. And I think that should be against the law to make a man be on child support without even giving him the option to even to try to take care of his child. And that I'm the better parent and can provide for him, and she can't even provide for him. All she wants is the money.
Working as designed.
Yep.
Yes, my name is Darius.
Okay.
I
mean, I get it. Here's a guy. How can I be signed up to pay, but I don't even get to parent my child? How backwards is that system that you are going to get signed up on the support? And they do that. You'll get the right to sign up on the child support. And these guys are paying to get put on there to pay, but you're not going to get any time with your kids. We're not going to tell you that one until you go and pay again. Right? And really, once they get you on child support, it feels like a trap because they're not in no rush to get you in there to get you your custodial rights. They're not in any rush. I've seen where these cases just keep getting knocked back and knocked back. Yep. They are not in any rush to give you that time, but they are in a rush to get that money because that system don't want to be paying for your kid, and they got too much money they can make off of you, Dad.
Yeah. Well, I think this is time for an emoji to pop up there on something I think this young man needs to get, through that whole establishment. Yeah. You read my mind. I mean, at this point, you definitely want to make sure, again, I don't know him, I don't know her, but I would definitely, before you get into this 18 plus year thing, establish paternity. It needs to become the norm. But yeah, again, well, you mentioned Texas, so I'll talk about Texas. They don't care. Actually, in their documents, they say they are there just to collect child support. Custody and all that is not part. They'll intertwine it, but it's a separate issue and all that. It doesn't. And this dad probably is thinking, hey, I'm financially able to take care of the kid. I'm better equipped for whatever reason. They don't want to hear that. They probably pulled financial statements and went, he makes more money than her. We're putting him on child support. System's working as designed.
Working absolutely as designed, man. Somebody said, what time? 8:00 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
7:00 Central. 6:00 Mountain. 5:00 Pacific. I always just put Eastern out there, and I've been to all those time zones now, so I know how confusing that can get. But I usually just say Eastern. So try to remember. Central's 1 hour behind. Pacific? Or Mountain is 2 hours behind, and Pacific's going to be 3 hours behind. But we'll be back. And you got time to get in those voicemails.
Yeah.
Because we usually do the live show, and then we just replay this a little bit later on. I want to come back with you guys because I'm having too much fun, Dwayne.
Yeah.
I'm having too much fun getting this education out there and slapping that system. You like that, don't you? Let's do it again. Take that, Title 4D. Take that. Yeah. All right. I'm going to get charged with domestic violence stories.
Yeah.
That was a joke.
That was a joke, people.
It was a joke. Nobody should lay their hands on nobody. This was a hypothetical slap. I didn't really slap anybody.
Yeah.
No. All right. Anyway, let's get on to the next voicemail. 762-441-0281.
Years, I think it is.
Interpretive dance?
Completely
Oh, there we go.
destroyed my soul. I've been walking this earth like a ghost, and anybody that's gone through this knows what I'm talking about. Fought in court, standing for her by myself against, her attorney and her parents who were millionaires, and also child support had their own. And this is out in California, out here in Sonoma County. I'm now living on a boat, and she's living in a two-story house. So there's no equity in there. There's no equitability. Both are completely corrupt. There's no doubt about it. It could not be making any kind of money on it. Anytime there's a company just you up.
I'm hoping it gets
That's
clearer.
just the flat-out general rule. It took me a while to start looking at all this stuff from a broad standpoint after fathers were dying everywhere, and even some mothers too. The point is, they are dividing us. They're making sure that one parent goes into slavery and the other parent takes off with the kids, and those kids then grow up without a father. I'm second generation of this kind of shit. I don't know if you see shit in the podcast, but I'm just chatting because that's exactly what this is. But anyway, I believe it truly is that we need to unite all these groups. We're getting at this division. We need to unite. We need to form up one big group and move and push to overthrow these courts, these kangaroo freaking courts that are absolute garbage. They put Willis into slavery and another one up on a pedestal so that they don't have to work or do anything else. That's garbage. We should be 50-50 all the way, unless there's some major freaking proof that there's something bad going on. These courts are garbage, and I hope that people will wake up and unite. It's not just fathers being alienated, it's not just mothers being alienated, but it is one side or another, and that's how they're getting to us. They're dividing us and conquering us. Much love to everybody out there that's going through this shit. It's the most soul-destroying thing I can think of, and that's proof that there is evil on this planet. And anybody that partakes in it and participates in it and benefits from it is also evil. Just remember that. I won't date a woman that's got sole custody of her kids and doesn't share custody at all. I won't date them. They are satanic in my mind. So just remember that. Ladies out there, if that's what you're doing, change your mind, change your thoughts. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. All right? Lots of love. Brothers out there, hang on. Hang in there. I don't know what else.
Man, dude. And you heard a little bit of the frustration coming out at the end, but he started with that first thing, which I think we hear in many of those guys is it's taken my soul.
Yeah.
And for anybody that doesn't understand, that hasn't been through that fight, that's exactly what it feels like. You feel like an empty shell. It's all you're thinking about. No matter what you do, there is no relief. All of my money, all of my time. The only thing that's occupying this brain up here is this fight that I can't win. And it feels like it sucks out your soul. That's what family court does. But when that happens, you become a zombie. You become a zombie. And you not only are a slave to the systems, the child support and the money that it costs, but you're a slave to it up here because people can tell you, oh man, get it off your head. Go out there. Stop thinking about it. Do something. Dude, now I know what it's like, Dwayne. Even right now, I'm not in the heat of the battle, but if I get off right here, which you got to do in just a second, and go to be a dad, I'm still going to have it churning up here. The fight's still going. That's why I said we're going to come back with you guys later on tonight because I'm not done talking. I stay ready to fight when I'm ready to fight, dude. And I hear it in this guy's voice. And I'm sorry you're going through that, brother, but I'm glad that you are here and you're speaking up.
Yeah, I mean, echoing what you just said, I mean, you can feel the pain in his voice, and you feel the pain in everybody's voice, all the callers, messages, and all that. And I wish I could help them all. I mean, that's the other part of it. I mean, you have the 1,400 text messages. I mean, you want to be there, but we're one guy.
Dude, I mean, you get to a point where you just can't look at. I've been called some pretty ugly names for not getting to it, and it's like, you want to do it? Let me assign you to it. And Tom Buddy Fitzpatrick, he brought up a good point. He said, I hate when people say just take care of yourself or just do you. Sometimes it's all we can do, man. I mean, that's what we're here. And guys, stop promoting your groups in dad talk. That's one of the biggest problems in this community. Is like, I've got a show. Like, dude, I'm trying to get everybody here. I mean, we're doing everything we can. Let's unite. Let's all show up. I'd love for you to be here. And we're going to come back. I hate to cut it short on that note, Dwayne, but I've got to go get to a family thing. So we will be back later tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern. Keep the voicemails coming in. I can add some from now till then. 762-441-0281. Again, that's 762-441-0281. Don't forget about the Christmas thing. We got just a little bit of time left. It seems like December just started, and I was sitting there watching a Christmas movie with my daughter last night, and I was like, we got 2 weeks till Christmas. And I am that guy that has not started shopping yet.
Ooh. Nice. Okay.
Oh, dude, I'm
moving.
I know it. I'm that last minute guy, but I don't want to be last minute on these dads. I want to make sure that we are getting this out there. So with that said, get down there. 100% of the proceeds is going to go out to them. For anybody that is tuned in today, I hope you will be back here a little bit later on. Like, share, subscribe, other things that you can do. I've seen guys doing it in the comment. You want to invite somebody, type the @ symbol and type their name, and it'll tag them down there in those comments. Let them know that we want them here. Without you guys, we are nothing. I want you to know that. It's not up here wanting to be rock. So you know what? I don't ever want my handprints on a Hollywood Walk of Fame. But I tell you what I would like doing. I would love to have our handprints in front of every courthouse in the United States of America. That is my goal right there. Let's put our handprints on every single one of those and say, we fought for our kids. This was the generation that said, you done messed up, AA Ron. We're coming after you. That's it. That's what we said. But all right, guys, we'll be back a little bit later on tonight. Dwayne, you got any last words?
I think you kind of covered it. You know, like, share, subscribe, bring a buddy tonight, for or against the thing. If you've been an alienator, if you've participated on the other side of this, leave a voicemail. It's therapeutic. I'm telling you. I mean, get it out. You don't have to say your name. Just leave a message. But again, be sure to like, share, subscribe, support that. Every little bit helps. So that's all I got. We'll see you back tonight at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. For the folks in Australia and Europe and everywhere else, I'm sorry, I went to public high school. I couldn't tell your time zone. Sorry.
Oh, dude, it was morning time when it was nighttime here when I was talking to those guys the other day, and it was the next day morning time. It's crazy. But they're here. They're watching Dad talk.
Yeah.
Too, man. We're pulling. That's what I'm saying. I don't care what country you're from. Be here. Bring it. Bring it.
The show's nationwide.
I'll tell you.
All worldwide, not nationwide. It's worldwide.
It is. This is a worldwide. We have a worldwide reach. You'd be surprised at how many different places we hear from. And I can't do it if I have to pay for it because I'm a broke ass parent too. But if you guys would like to see Dad talk in your country and you can raise the funds and get us over there, we'll come expose it for you too, because we want to lock arms with you. That's just the bottom line. Looks like we might be going down under next year, Dwayne. I'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But yeah, I got to get out. My daughter's screaming at me. I'll see you guys later.